refused. Today he was told to quit to make as graceful an exit as possible or be fired. Here's Odetta Rogers.
Thank you so much.
Even before meeting with the Attorney General, Sessions said he's made it clear to the president that he's not quitting.
No, I do not intend to resign. I told him that I would not resign. It's too important that I actually stay the course all the way.
But in their meeting, Janet Reno reportedly advised Sessions that the president plans to fire him. A senior administration official told NBC News, it's over, he's out of here, probably in just a few days. 63-year-old Sessions is accused of abusing privileges of the office he's held for nearly 6 years. A Justice Department report last January cited him for avoiding income taxes on the use of his official limousine, using FBI aircraft for personal trips, and spending $10,000 of government money to install a fence around his Washington home. After his meeting at the Justice Department, Sessions fell and broke some bones in his elbow. At the hospital, I spoke with his wife, Alice. She said resigning under a cloud would not make for a graceful exit.
What is graceful about having been charged with things like this that have not been investigated and proven false as they are?
The White House has already begun interviewing possible replacements. Last night, the president met with federal Judge Louis Freeh of New York. Judge Freeh, a former FBI agent, appears to be the leading candidate. A final decision could be made as early as next week. Odetta Rogers, NBC News, at the Justice Department.
Because you obviously have not looked into that.
Mr. President, what did Judge Freeh bring to the table?
All right, that was President Clinton and Attorney General Reno. The president announced first that he had just placed a call a few minutes earlier to FBI Director William Sessions asking for his immediate resignation. He said that the Attorney General had asked the Director Sessions to resign over the weekend. Director Sessions had refused, and he, the president, had called him. He said it was time for this difficult chapter to be brought to a close. He said it was not a result of an internal vendetta at the FBI. He said there were a lot of reasons for it. And Attorney General Reno then went on to say that she had conducted her own investigation since she's been in place at the head of the Justice Department, and that based on her investigation, including the response of Mr. Sessions to questions that she had asked, she concluded that he had a serious deficiency in judgment, and as she put it, does not command the respect of the FBI, of the Bureau of Federal Bureau of Investigation. We'll be back in a moment with Inside Politics. Within the past hour, FBI Director William Sessions has held a news conference in which he has responded to President Clinton's announcement that he called Sessions today and asked for his immediate dismissal. We want to bring you now an excerpt of Mr. Sessions' news conference.
This afternoon at approximately 3:50, President Clinton called me from the White House with Attorney General Reno, and we had two conversations, the first one of which was to inform me, as he did by letter, which he faxed to me, that I would no longer serve as the head of the FBI and that he was terminating my service as director. He called back a few minutes later to tell me that that was effective immediately. And I thanked him. We had a cordial conversation, most difficult circumstance for him, I'm sure. And then I met with Deputy Attorney General Phil Hyman, who was in my office at the time the president called. I do have the letter which I've now received by messenger from the president. He may have read it earlier to some of you, I don't know. It says, "Dear Director Sessions, after a thorough review by Attorney General Reno of your leadership of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, she has reported to me that you can no longer effectively lead the Bureau and the law enforcement community, and has recommended to me that you be replaced effective immediately. In accord with the recommendation of the Attorney General, with which I fully agree, I am hereby terminating your service as Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, effective immediately. Let me express my appreciation and that of the American people for your contribution as a United States District Judge and as Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Sincerely, Bill Clinton." The second call was finished at 3:59. The Deputy Attorney General informed me immediately that Mr. Floyd Clark would be the acting Director of the FBI. I asked that he come in and receive that letter from the Attorney General, and at 4:03 he received that letter. I then had discussions concerning my continuation in cleaning out my office and doing those things which needed to be done in connection with my departure from the Bureau. Contemplating for several days that this was about to happen and that I felt the director would be terminated by the President of the United States, I prepared a statement which I'll read to you and which will be available to you if any of you have any direct need for it. 35 years ago, when I graduated from Baylor Law School, I determined that at that time I would dedicate my life to law and to justice, and I have done that to this moment. It has been my privilege and honor to serve under 5 American presidents, first at the Department of Justice, then as the United States Attorney for the Western District of Texas, then as United States District Court Judge in Texas, and as the Chief Judge of that court, and finally as Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. In all those posts, I have been ever mindful of the absolute requirement to serve with excellence, honor, and integrity. When I came to Washington nearly 6 years ago, I was challenged by the Senate Judiciary Committee to continue the movement for change begun by Directors Kelly and Webster within the Bureau. The opportunities for women, blacks, Hispanics, and other minorities have been greatly expanded. The possibility for service and promotion within the Bureau could now be limitless. In addition, I have led the FBI to what I call astounding accomplishments in the counterterrorism area, the counterintelligence area, the DNA and fingerprint technologies, and in the battle against gangs, drugs, violent crime, and white-collar fraud. Throughout my tenure, I have been keenly aware of the high level of trust placed in me by the American people.
Those remarks from FBI Director William Sessions from a news conference he held within the hour to respond to President Clinton's announcement that he was dismissing Mr. Sessions effective immediately.
And FBI Director William Sessions finally got the message today. It's time to go. He was fired by the president personally after refusing a request from Attorney General Janet Reno to step aside. More on this from NBC's Pete Williams.
With Attorney General Janet Reno at his side, President Clinton went before White House reporters to say Sessions' leadership has left the FBI in turmoil. It was the ultimate pink slip.
After a thorough review by the Attorney General of Mr. Sessions' leadership of the FBI, she has reported to me in no uncertain terms that he can no longer effectively lead the Bureau and law enforcement community.
Attorney General Reno said she recommended the move based on a Justice Department report done near the end of the Bush administration. It accused Sessions of avoiding federal taxes on his use of a government limousine, using an FBI airplane to take personal trips, and improperly spending government funds for a fence at his house. After the president's announcement, Sessions said he's done nothing wrong.
It is because I believe in the principle of an independent FBI that I have refused to voluntarily resign. I will speak out in the strongest terms about protecting the FBI from being manipulated and politicized both from inside and from out.
But a deputy attorney general in the Bush administration says Clinton was right to fire Sessions.
Agents have been disciplined for similar, if not lesser, matters in a severe way. And again, you must hold the FBI director to at least the same standard, if not a higher one, than his or her subordinates.
Federal Judge Louis Freeh of New York will be nominated to succeed Sessions, an announcement expected tomorrow. Sessions leaves the FBI building tonight a private citizen, with security people escorting him out, as they would any other outsider. Pete Williams, NBC News, Washington.
Another Clinton nominee is preparing to climb the hill toward Senate confirmation. Louis Freeh is the man chosen to succeed fired FBI Director William Sessions. CNN's Jill Doherty reports Freeh heads to the Senate with an impressive resume and high praise from colleagues.
One day after firing FBI Director William Sessions, President Clinton nominated what he called a law enforcement legend to take his place, New York federal judge Louis Freeh.
Judge Freeh knows the FBI. He is a highly decorated former agent and supervisor. He has investigated and prosecuted some of the most notorious and complex crimes of our time. He is experienced, energetic, and independent. He will be both good and tough. Good for the FBI and tough on criminals.
Free, in a nod to Sessions, praised him for trying to diversify the FBI workforce, but he left no question he would run a tight ship, a stark contrast to Sessions, accused in a Justice Department report of using his office for personal gain.
At its bedrock, the FBI must stand for absolute integrity, be free of all political influence, be free of any racial or other bias, and work solely in the public interest.
The street-smart 43-year-old Free prosecuted several famous cases, including the billion-dollar Sicilian mafia heroin ring known as the Pizza Connection. Reaction to his nomination from politicians and from law enforcement officials was positive.
He has a tremendous dedication to civil liberties, which shouldn't be ignored here. I mean, Louis has as much enthusiasm and commitment to enforcing the civil rights laws as he does to all of the other laws that fall within the purview of the FBI. So you're going to see, I think, a heavy emphasis on restoring a sense of fairness, and Louis is just the right choice.
Press Secretary Dee Dee Myers said the president acted more speedily on this nomination because it was clear from the start that Sessions, already enmeshed in a battle with the Bush administration, might have to go. But removing Sessions took a torturous half year. Attorney General Janet Reno defended that, saying she wanted to rule out any political considerations.
I wanted to review the matter independently. I feel very, very strongly that the director of the FBI should be above politics.
Reno said that with the announcement of a new director, morale at the FBI was back on track. With two major issues cleared from his desk this week, gays in the military and finding a new FBI director, the White House says President Clinton will be focusing like a laser beam again on his budget plan. And this time, the White House promises he'll be a lot more aggressive in trying to sell it. Jill Doherty, CNN, the White House.
Good evening. Connie is on assignment tonight. It was a big day on Capitol Hill with action affecting President Clinton's agenda, your wallet, and the law of the land. It was day one of confirmation hearings for the president's first Supreme Court nominee. Mr. Clinton named a new FBI chief. The Clinton compromise on gays in the military came under fire, and there were warning flags on the economy and the president's plan to try to get it going again. As expected, President Clinton named New York federal judge Louis Freeh to be the new director of the FBI. Freeh is a former FBI agent himself. He says one of his goals would be to keep the FBI free from political influence.